Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Listen, one of the most common things that happen during tax season when we have a client and they have a liability or they owe on their taxes. And immediately once I tell a person that they have a liability, they owe the IRS some money, they ask me, D, why do I owe? And most of the time they didn't pay sufficient taxes during the year. They didn't pay enough payroll tax during the year, and that's what's causing the liability. And most of it is attributed to them not having their federal withholding form or W-4 form filled out properly. So what's a W-4? The W-4 form is the federal withholding form where most employers, they take your information and depending on how much money you make, from whatever income level, and depending on how you file, you list as you file, be it single, married, head of household, married, filing separate, there's a certain amount of taxes that should be paid, taken out your payroll, a certain amount of money should be taken out of your income towards payroll taxes each year for you and your spouse. And there are different amounts that can adjust that depending on how you and your spouse are filing, if you have dependents or if you have multiple jobs. What I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to go through the W-4 form and give you the different scenarios that can be depending on how you file it and how to properly fill out the form, okay? First, we're going to go over, this is just your basic single or married filing separate form, okay? As you see right here, you have your name, first name, last name, address, single, married, filing separate, be the same thing with your social security number. This is with no dependents, guys. And the only thing you need to do is just put in that information there, scroll down, get the block step 5. You can skip over 2, 3, and 4. Go to step 5, sign and date it, get it to your employer, and you should have the proper amount. And this scenario is, guys, if you only have one job and no dependents and filing single, okay? The second one, this is if you have dependents, so you still can be single with, single with dependents. And I don't think this is going to be different on this one. Is same thing with your name, first name, last name, address, social security number. Scroll down, and we get to skip over step 2, and you get to step 3. Let's say claim dependents. Any dependent you have under 17. $2,000. We have a 14-year-old. We also claiming our niece, which is considered an other dependent, and be $500 towards that, and $2,500 they're listed on there. Sign the date, and there you go from there. Okay. As if you're filing single with dependents, and that could be the same scenario if you're filing married, filing joints, no other income, with only one income. You have the thing with the dependents. Everything's pretty much self-explanatory. It just gets a little tricky when we start adding in other income amounts on there, right? We're going to go through everything from a simplistic standpoint first, and then we'll add in the different scenarios, okay? The third one, which is a situation where you have somebody's married filing joint. So this is mine, and not my spouse's. First name, last name, social security number, address. You have that set up. Here's the key when you're filling out this form with this. When you have a spouse and both of you guys are working, what you have to do is go here, and you see this part where it had multiple job worksheets, okay? And you'll scroll down and they'll tell you what to look on this grid on page 4 in relation to what you should put there. So going back to here, we were looking at it, asking in regards to, with this pretty much the workout sheet. If me and my spouse both have separate incomes, we're filing jointly. If I earn the most in the house and I have an income of $55,000, which will fall in this criteria right here. Oh Lord, do that. And my spouse makes $35,000, which you'll have her in here. And the grid will go between the two. 3360. And what'll happen? We'll scroll up here. We'll put the 3360 because we both have jobs there. You'll scroll down. That asks you to the different amount of periods for the one that made the highest paying job, which was me. And just say I get paid on a monthly basis. So that's 12 periods. And I divide that amount up by the pay periods and list that right here, that 3360 by the 12, and put that there. Okay. And the only thing this does is just help, make the adjustment, because you're filing jointly and your employer has no idea, unless putting that information on there, how much your spouse will make. So this gives them the opportunity to kind of make that adjustment for that. But that's all you need to do if you want to do that. If you want to add additional deductions, say if you're itemizing stuff, you can always fill out section 4 with doing that. I wouldn't recommend trying to get into the weeds of doing this if you don't even know if you're going to be able to itemize or not. With doing it or making those particular adjustments with doing it. So I would stay away from step 4 if you're not for sure if you're going to be able to do that. Okay. If you get to a point where what your itemized deductions probably would be, I would advise you to talk to whoever your tax preparer is, because they'll probably have a little bit more insight in the actual information that needs to be put there. Okay. All right. But that's pretty much it in regards to if you add multiple jobs with that, and it'd be the same scenario. It's kind of self-explanatory if you're gonna have 3 jobs added to the mix. But those 2 jobs, in essence, is if you have 2 jobs, or considering you and a spouse, like scenario of married filing joint. The next one we'll look at is the one for head of household. Same thing there. And head of household just means that you work and you have a dependent. You're not married or married filing joint, but you have a dependent. So that's consider you for head of household. And pretty much their first name, last name, address. You probably you got to have a dependent listed on here, but that dollar amount is going to have to be listed on as well. Just sign the date. Again, guys, remember, if you have more than one income, always go to this worksheet so you can make the adjustments, puts that information on there as well. Scenarios that would cause you to make adjustments. Just say if you already started in a year, you filled out the W-4, you're working your job. These are scenarios that make where you should make adjustments. If you get married during the year, and you guys say, hey, we're going to file together, go back and adjust your W-4. Adjust your W-4 to make that adjustment for if you're married, to put that additional credit amount on there. The second scenario, if you start a new job or something like that, get an additional job or a part-time job, make sure you go back and make that adjustment on this one. You're going to fill out the new W-4 with your part-time job, and you're also going to make the adjustment on your current job to do that. Another situation, if you have a child or new dependents come in, you give your spouse give birth to your child, or you're taking a niece or nephew or a parent or something like that, make the adjustment from there. Okay, those are a couple scenarios where you would go back and readjust your W-4 if you already submitted it already. Okay, again, guys, this form is pretty simple to fill out. I think a lot of times I can just go out of past experience where I've had clients that have had issues with still not paying enough taxes is more than likely a lot of times they'll have a part-time job and maybe a couple part-time jobs that they're not making adjustments with the pay, because the part-time job may pay significantly less than the main job, but they're still not making the adjustment for that additional, let's say, $2,000 to $5,000 they're making each year with a part-time job, but they're not making it the adjustment on the W-4 for the main job. And what happens is, keep in mind, the payroll taxes are designated for a particular income amount for the year, right? For the year, and depending on how you file it. So if you make $25,000 as somebody that's filing single, $25,000 somebody married filing joint, $25,000 somebody that's filing head of household, the tax liability will be different for all 3 scenarios, and also be different with each scenario depending on if you add independence or things like that. Okay, so make sure you make adjustments anytime you have some kind of life changes that is affiliated with income or a dependent. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay, so that's it in a nutshell. How to fill out a form W-4, the federal withholding certificate. I think it's pretty easy, but again, I think disparities things come up when people don't make the adjustments or amendments to their W-4 with their employer when they have those particular life events happen. Listen, again, I am Deonte Burden, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. Go to Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. Almost 400 videos on the YouTube channel covering business operation, business finance, investing. I'm about to go blank. We got a grants playlist with over 150 grant opportunities. A lot of great information on the channel. To stay updated with the good information we currently have and all the great information we have coming down the pipe, hit that $ in the bottom right corner to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure you hit the bell to get a notification each time we upload a new video. Best of luck with you guys. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.